And I remember somebody from across the room laughing and going, "This is your menu?"
Are you serious? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fire Ready Aim podcast. My name is Jonathan Cowan. This is my co-host, Brianna Cowan. We're here to try to share some of our entrepreneurial knowledge today. Not saying there's that much, but hey, we're just going to throw that crap out in the world and see what sticks. You know, so if this helps you, which
I know 10% more than someone.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I've been honored by some people like that coming up and saying like, "Oh, I actually liked that or that." I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I was shook.
Don't ask who. I'd have to make up a name. No, Alex Obanoff. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. That's really nice of you.
And Matt.
Matt's
another
bro.
one. I'm like, dude.
Like, Matt Platt, you took a second of your busy life to listen to something we made. Freaking honored by that.
Yeah. You only run like I don't know.
I believe it's $14 million a year marketing company right now, and it's going to be $100 million in like, I think he has like a 5-year goal or maybe less for that.
Yeah.
Pretty freaking impressive, if you ask me.
I agree.
But today we have a great episode.
This is a fun one.
Yeah,
We've been wanting to talk about this for a while.
This is one of our problems in life.
But also one of our strengths.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the art of not being offended, how to make criticism work for you.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like every entrepreneur in the world, if you talk to them, they all have chips on their shoulders. There's something that they remember that they're like, no.
Yeah.
And they make it work for them, which is the beautiful thing. They don't just wallow in it.
Let it fire you up a little bit.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, MJ,
people don't believe you.
Yeah, you gotta like make something up. What was the thing Michael Jordan made up?
Something around like, and that I took offense. He didn't say offense, but he said something.
No, like he it was like somebody was like trash talking him, but they didn't.
Oh,
he,
yeah.
Made it up.
Absolutely.
Just to like fire him up.
Things where he was slighted by George Karl, the head coach of the Seattle Supersonics, when they're at the same restaurant, and because George Karl didn't like properly say hello to Michael Jordan, he's like, and I took offense to that. Or something. It was like, what the? He was a maniac. So I'm not saying you need to be a maniac. There's gonna be, hey, trust me, in the entrepreneurial life, there's gonna be enough slights coming your way. You don't really need to worry about it.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need to make it up.
See, when you are the best basketball player in the world for a long time, you might need to start making the slights.
Yes.
Because everybody already thinks you're the best.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
Trust me, when you're starting your entrepreneurship journey,
yeah,
you'll come to realize, wow, everybody goes through this of nobody believing you, or at least not that many people. You'd expect certain people to believe in you. Some people just mentally can't understand what entrepreneurship actually is, and then they think you're an idiot until you start having any success, and then they might be jealous once you do have the success. So it's really a lose-lose situation. That's why entrepreneurship isn't for everybody.
Yes.
Because it's just
and a lot of people can't see like what you see. That's entrepreneurship, is like I can see what's and that's not to say it's all going to work out, but usually you can tell kind of like where you're going, and explaining that to people, they're like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a lot of criticism from every angle, and we're going to teach you.
So yeah, how to remove the emotion from criticism and make it how to use it productively. Mm-hmm. You don't have time to wallow, so the faster you can get from being hurt to making change, the better off your business will be.
Yep.
That's the truth.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Just speaking nothing but truth on this podcast.
So yeah, the first example we have actually recently happened. We have an awesome mentor, friend, even an investor in our new project, Tom. Mm-hmm. We had a meal with him the other day, and it was so funny because he was just trying to put on the kid gloves for us. He didn't know our skin and how thick it is, and how we just want to be better.
Honestly, and that just how he was speaking to us, I was like, oh, you must have to speak to a lot of other people like this with like kid gloves and like, I'm not, he prefaced everything with like, I'm not trying to offend you. And I was like, seriously, stop saying that. Nothing you say is going to offend me. I'm going to soak it in. Because at this point in our career, that's all we're doing. Because it's like, we need to be receptive. We need to be a sponge. You tell me what's wrong. I'm going to fix it. I have removed the emotion from most of that.
Yeah.
So, but it was kind of adorable.
Trust
many times?
Me, at this point, we knew if we were perfect entrepreneurs and we were like the best business owners, we'd have lines out the door every single day. And we don't. So that
100%.
means we need to get a lot better.
Exactly.
So we welcome this crap. And you should too if you want to succeed as an entrepreneur.
Yes, agreed. But he sat down with us, and we were kind of talking about our restaurant expansion, and he was kind of pointing at some things at our current restaurant that he's like, don't forget, you got to take care of this, and this. And really, we had kind of said, oh, well, we're going to expand that location, and when we expand that location, we're going to fix X, Y, and Z. And it was beautiful, and it's one of those things that's like since stuck with me. Is he said, well, just remember, everything is communication. And I was like, that's cute. Like, did you and your wife talk about this? Like in therapy? What do you mean everything is communication? And he was like, no, everything you do in your business is communicating something. So if you guys aren't going to fix it right now, what is that communicating to your guests? And if you guys aren't going to, come up with a better uniform for your servers right now, what is that communicating to them? If you allow people to come to work late, what does that communicate? If you belittle, your managers, what does that communicate? And he kind of just like, and we don't belittle our managers, but I'm just saying everything you do is communication in the business. And I think that kind of struck a chord with us because we had put some things on the back burner because, we have this expansion, and we really needed to like kind of eat some humble pie and realize like, hey, you might be growing, people like your stuff, but that's kind of a balance, and you need to make sure that you're paying attention in, your first location and making sure across the board you're communicating the things that you want to communicate.
Oh yeah, we developed a limiting belief that we can't do this until this.
Yes.
It is a huge bandwidth thing we're going through right now where like mentally we're trying to like compartmentalize like where can I put this energy, where can I put this energy? But it's like, oh wow, cosmetically on our current, restaurant, it's like we put it on the back burner because we're like, oh, this and this needs to line up first. But is that the truth? And with the communication thing, it's like, yeah, what are people seeing by that? Are we going to start slumping here because we're so fixated on this over here?
Exactly.
So it's about focus, refocus, and also let people in your life to get that focus again.
And think about like the entire show, Kitchen Nightmares, isn't anything but like Gordon Ramsay coming in and like shitting on their food, shitting on their decor, like saying like everything about your business is awful. And the people who, remove the emotion from that and go, you know what, you're right, this is outdated, you're right, my food could be better, end up with something kind of beautiful at the end. You do just have to kind of strip the essentials out of their criticism and go, what am I hearing? When you take out kind of the rawness of what they're saying, it's like, what is the essential thing they're trying to tell me? The cosmetic changes need to happen. Okay. He's not saying that because I'm a bad person or a bad business owner. He's not saying that because, I suck at my job and I can't He's saying that because that's what he's seeing and experiencing, and it's helpful. And at the end of the day, if you cannot take criticism in general, this probably isn't for you, but the best and biggest changes I would say we've made in our business has come from criticism.
Yeah, we got criticized at the Bricks, a wedding venue.
Yes, that's the biggest one I'm thinking of right now.
When they first opened up, they were new to the wedding industry, but they criticized us, who we'd been doing this for 4 years at this point. And we had to eat humble pie with that.
Well, they said their criticism was that, because they had other caterers in their rotation, they were like, your dinner service was so long, like compared to other caterers. And I was like, well, how long are other caterers doing it for? Like, they get dinner out in like 20, 30 minutes max. Your dinner was an hour and 15 minutes. And we're like, okay. I didn't know that's what I was up against. And everybody always loves our food. It was just like, man.
But there were stages of that feedback, though. Because we looked at them as new people. And before we asked the question of, like, how long do the other people take? It was like, who are you to say something to me?
Yeah.
And I would say that was just part of our growth thing of being like, all right, sometimes you will get your feelings hurt by this criticism, but it's like, where do you take it from there?
Yep.
I'm going to be like, I'm never going to work at that place again. It's like, no, what a stupid thing. Like they're, at the end of the day, even if they don't even mean it in a productive way, even though I know they did at the time, like you can still take some feedback from any situation
100%.
and be like, great,
Yeah. Agreed.
make something better from it. So
Yeah.
So number 2, employee. We had an employee issue.
Yep.
They quit after 3 weeks because we were more disorganized than his previous jobs.
Yes. So we are an entrepreneurial company. We wholeheartedly believe in finding kind of like entrepreneurial employees who can embrace who we are as a company at this stage. We are not completely buttoned up. We're not even close. But kind of like we were talking about.
But we're closer than we've ever been.
Closer than we've ever been, but still far away from kind
Where
of
we
the
wanna
like
be.
corporate.
Absolutely.
Everything's buttoned up. You're going to have 8 weeks of training, and then the Pope is going to come bless you, and you're going to be a manager. We are so not there yet. But it was interesting because, you know, he quit out of nowhere, and it was because this is just too disorganized and chaotic for me. And John and I are kind of thinking like, God, like you should have seen us 3 years ago. Like this is insane. We actually do have some systems in place. We're not perfect, but we're a lot better than we used to be. But still, we kind of were like, okay, we can't become corporate overnight. We can't build all of these systems. And I'm certainly not going to like deprioritize some of the things I'm working on to like be fixated on the problem that this employee introduced. One actionable thing I did take from that though is like, you know what? For new employees, I do such a good job of selling them on the company and the job and the fit. And I found that I wasn't scaring them also enough to make sure that the fit was right. So I would just kind of rose-colored glasses it. I just wouldn't bring it up necessarily because I didn't see it as a massive problem because I've been living in it.
Yeah.
So it's like when you're living in chaos and you've adapted, you're kind of like, everybody can do this, right? No, that's not true. And so one of our most recent hires, I said, you know what? You're going to get a tour of the basement. You're going to see like the belly of the beast. You're going to see what you're walking into. And I basically want you to tell me before we even get into some sort of working relationship, if you are up for this. I'm going to lay bare our problems. And lots of people are up for it and lots of people can handle it, but not everybody can. So I want to figure that out beforehand. And that was a nice lesson to learn. And
absolutely,
it was a criticism of our business. And of course, we can't systemize overnight, but it was a nice way of making like kind of an adaptation to our hiring process to circumvent that problem.
Absolutely.
In the future.
There were some stages of that situation.
Yes.
Where immediately, we're human. We were pissed at the guy.
Yeah.
We're like, what? Are you kidding me? You're quitting?
I'm not gonna lie.
We didn't say it to him.
Some choice words.
Yeah, we didn't say. We kept it to ourselves. We vented to each other, and then there's the next stage is like, all right, well he's gone. So where do we go from here?
Exactly.
You can't go back and beg somebody to come back in their first 3 weeks. It's like, no, it's over now. So what are we going to do to make our company better? So in the future, we're in a better place for people. You know.
Yeah, because we don't want to be. It's not like we think it's cute. Like, we're not like, oh, God, yeah, look at it. We're just, like, crazy. It's fun. Like, we don't want to be like that forever. But we do need people at this stage in the game to be like, I'm fine with that. You know, there are people that, like, when I was working for other people, I was fine with chaos. And I'm fine now with chaos. It's just you either have it or you don't. And that's okay. You're just not a fit for our place at this stage.
And I will say one thing about those people who can make it through a tough situation is there can be a lot of glory on the other side when you're working for a company like this.
100%.
Because if you come to a place that's already perfect already.
100%.
What
have we always talked about? Freaking Jimmy John's. I am the most amazing business in my mind because they literally like recruit stoners. Like it's like purely stoners that work there. And God bless them. They make a sandwich in like 2 minutes and get it delivered to your house in 10. Like that is systemization. And the only way you can really like grow as a business is making sure that you can get a bigger pool of people. And that is like, okay, I don't care who you are. I can teach you how to make a sandwich and deliver it because we have a system for that. And I don't care if you smoked weed out of your friggin' mind, like you're stoned out of your mind. You can make this sandwich and deliver it.
All right. Sorry to all the Jimmy John's workers out there that aren't stoners.
Y'all know who you are. Get out of here.
They're like, I don't smoke before work. You know, like
just last night till 3.
All other times. Anyway.
I don't know. You know what? Honestly, if Jimmy John's does drug testing, I could be totally wrong. We know a few stoners that worked at Jimmy John's, so I just assume all of them are.
Well, It's legal in Illinois right now, so I think
exactly.
it's a lot.
I'm not like mad about it. I'm just saying that like that.
They made an awesome system.
They made an awesome system, and that means that like
deny that.
You can work high.
Okay.
Okay, next one.
EOS mentor Dan.
Yes.
You'll never grow if it's just the two of you. You can't do it. So
we had a Zoom call, an introductory Zoom call with him, and he asked us, "What are your plans for the future?" And I said, "Oh my God, so much." And we laid out what we wanted to do, and he literally just like.
And what did we want to do?
We were just, I don't even know at that point. Like
it was something along
changed.
the lines that I remember him telling the story because he tells it now.
Yeah.
Is that we wanted to open 5 to 10 restaurants in a certain amount of time. And, it was just like a very small team at that point of management.
Literally no one. I don't even know. We had you and I think at that point.
At like a corporate level, yes.
Yes. Yeah. That's hilarious.
Corporate
level.
John and Bree.
Yeah. HR. PR. But he just kind of like laughed at us and was like, "You can't do that. Like, you're not going to be able to do that on your own. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I have this like tenacity. I'm a hard worker. Like, I can do anything." He's like, "No, seriously, you can't. And you need to think about it, running on an operating system like EOS and building your team because you're going to crash and burn."
Yes.
And we totally would have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm thankful for that criticism, but a lot of people would be offended. Don't be offended. There's so much behind what people actually say to you that's usually the truth, especially if you've heard it repeated in a few different ways, when you recognize patterns.
I would say we live in a world now, though, where so many people are like, live your truth. Don't listen to the haters. I'm actually saying you should listen to people and take in what they have to say and analyze it.
Of course, like you are not going to, like if your mom says you're fat 100 times and you're not fat, okay, filter it out. Like there's a few things where it's like you're not going to be able to like, you can't take all of everyone's criticism, but there is a way to take like nuggets of criticism and make them productive for you. I am assuming that you as a human have a brain that's been filtering information since you were born, and you are going to have to do that. Like use your critical thinking skills and say, you know what, is there something behind this? Is there a truth behind this? Can this make me better? And if there is, you should probably listen to that criticism.
Absolutely. Analyzing and look for themes. Mm-hmm. So one way you can analyze is who's saying this? Do I respect this person? How's their life going? That's a good point. Yeah. And then the theme is, all right, well, a lot of people I somewhat respect kind of are saying the same things different ways. So if you're just like not listening to any of the negativity in your life and you're just like, they're just haters, loves me. Yeah, that's a loser mentality. I'm sorry. Yeah. But
that's a good point. That's actually a good like asterisk to this entire podcast would be people, let's see. Well, I'm not going to say it across the board, but typically people who criticize you, they're not like the people below you, especially in business, are the people above you, are not going to be the ones that are like extremely critical of you on kind of these like minor things. Like it's going to bubble up from maybe other people who are entrepreneurs, you're working too much or you're whatever. It's tough. I'll be honest. I don't have a good kind of like equation or algorithm for you to be like, okay, this is how I filter it, and this is how to decide if this is good criticism or not. You do have to use your critical thinking skills. But at the end of the day, like if it is coming from a good source or somebody who is successful, or there are patterns.
Yeah, totally. This is a funny one to me. Number 4. So our David Scott Peters mastermind.
I need to talk about this one.
Absolutely. Well, I'll set it up because honestly, Brianna does things with excellence. It used to be a perfection thing. We talked about perfectionism on our last podcast. Mm-hmm. And, you used to be a perfectionist when it came to marketing. You cared so much about our brand of Wooden Paddle where it'd be like, this is our constant argument I've joked about a long time. We used to get a lot of our business from emails we sent out right before dinner on Friday nights and be like, Bree, can you just send out the email? She's like, I'm working on it. Shut up. this and that, and luckily over time she's gotten to the point where it's like, you know what? It's mostly there. This is in our tone. It's good enough. We have these guidelines. Now we can send it out.
Yes.
But this is something that she really cared about, was the new branding. In 2 years ago, we embarked on a new branding plan because we knew we were kind of taking the direction of Wooden Paddle away from just being like a wood-fired pizzeria into being like a wood-fired restaurant. Mm-hmm. So she's working with our guy Joel from the Otherness Studio out in somewhere
Amsterdam.
The Netherlands.
Amsterdam.
And basically, they worked so hard to come up with this awesome just direction of things. And Joel came up with this awesome menu design, which we just absolutely loved. And then what happened?
He's like, and the funny thing, if you meet somebody like Joel, your immediate reaction is like, he is an artist.
Yeah.
Like, like he takes his time, he thinks, like he really he's really into his work. And so, and then partnering with me and kind of like really sussing out what we wanted, like we really did develop what I think is like a beautiful brand. And alongside that kind of like package of rebranding, he actually worked on designing some of our key design elements, one of those being the menu. And we came up with some, cool new, but I do this all the time where it's like, it's never been done. Like, I don't see anyone doing this. Let's do it. And then that bites you in the ass because you're like, there's a reason why nobody does this. But our menu design, our first one, whatever, it was pretty not as functional.
Well, how did we learn this, though? So we went to our DSP mastermind group.
Yes. So we have a group of restaurant owners that meets 3 times a year in Vegas. And this one was just kind of fun. It was like, bring your physical menus. We're going to talk about like your layouts and your pricing and kind of how you're perceived, just to get other restaurant owners' eyes on it. And we brought ours. And I remember somebody from across the room laughing and going, this is your menu?
Are you serious? He said.
Yeah, are you serious? And I literally, I wish there was like a camera on my face at that moment because I was like, excuse me? Like, you?
Because we were so proud of it. And when Brianna
So
puts like
proud.
a lot of effort into something and she's proud of it, I just know it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, what do you mean? And he kind of started like talking about how, I get what you're trying to do here in making it look more luxe, but it doesn't. It actually looks cheaper. It's like, and it stung for a little bit because it's like, I'm a little bit of an artist too. So I really thought like, this is beautiful. I personally really like it. So that one kind of like hit for a minute. But then as I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, what of what he's saying is actually true? And there was some, tweaks that we ended up made the menu a lot more functional, and a lot higher end looking at the end of the day. And this is coming from somebody who wouldn't consider like his own restaurant to be luxe, but it was a good outside perspective of somebody who's just a restaurant owner who goes to expensive restaurants and sees what they're doing. And so yeah, I had to kind of like eat it there. But we made the changes.
And we're happy we did.
And we're happy we did.
Yeah.
So
thanks for feedback, people.
Exactly.
Honestly, this next one hits very close to my heart. And
I'm over it at this point.
The history of Yelp reviews.
Yeah.
And
Google, everywhere.
All the review platforms. And honestly, all the review places get such bad raps from all restaurant people. And I'm here to tell you, you're freaking wrong.
Yeah.
Like we went back to just a few things ago, themes matter. So when you say the same themes and reviews to your company, and then you're just going to say everybody's an idiot and all review websites are just full of idiots, while true sometimes, you still have to listen to those people because those are the people coming and taking the time to write about you. So you need to respect that to a certain point. You are kind of a mediocre restaurant when you don't get any reviews, and we've been there too.
Yeah.
Our old place, we got like 11 reviews on Yelp in 5 years, and getting any Yelp reviews like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. We've been able to thrive on getting bad Yelp reviews and seeing what we need to fix and just getting feedback.
Like, there are for sure outliers, but if you take like a swath of your reviews and just say they're all idiots, then I would say, okay, so how do you explain then the restaurants that are 4.5 or 5 stars? Like, are all of those people idiots, but they're just like very optimistic? Like,
Yeah.
we've all walked into a
They
restaurant.
paid them. They paid them off.
Exactly. We've all walked into a restaurant and been like, you know what? I'm out of town. It's 3.5 stars, but like, I'll give it a shot. And you're like, that is a solid 3.5 star experience, like dead on. And in general, those things are right. Like, there isn't really this like, oh my God, I had a 5-star experience and everybody else rated this Taco Bell a 2. Like, it just isn't, it doesn't happen. But I would say like the volume of criticism that you get from your review platforms, there is where you'll absolutely be able to see patterns. When we first opened Wooden Paddle, we got a lot of reviews about our dough, I think it was, that it was too thick or like undercooked or something. And I remember we wanted to like fully automate this business, so we bought this like dough press. And it just didn't stretch. It didn't stretch pizza, like, not to sound like an artist, but it didn't stretch like it was with your hands. Truly. And I didn't even know how to stretch dough by hand, but I remember one day, like, we had gotten like not a ton of reviews, but the volume that we had compared to the amount of people that were negatively saying, like, we needed to fix something.
Needed to change. But something kind of funny about that is our whole opening budget for Wooden Paddle in Orland Park was maybe $50,000, and like $33,000 of it was like my grandparents giving me a loan of like, here's $33,000. We were able to buy 2 pieces of equipment, which was an oven and this dough press that she's talking about. And we bought it because it didn't put any heat onto the dough. We were very like purists and like, we don't want any heat added. Has carpeting system and just presses it out properly and stuff like that.
And I didn't. And we got enough reviews, and I was like, okay, we have to change something. And so I remember going in early one morning, watching a freaking YouTube video, stretching it out by hand.
Wasn't it Tony Geminiani?
No, I don't think so.
No, it wasn't. No.
But I watched a couple, and I figured it out, and I was like, okay, we're done. Literally that day, I was like, we are done. I'm teaching everybody who comes in how to stretch by hand, and we're just gonna like burn the ships. Like, we didn't use it at all. I taught myself in like a couple hours, and I was like, I don't care how this goes.
And all of a sudden, things got better. And then we
Yes.
co-signed another company to sell that dough press for us. And then they mysteriously went out of business like right away. It was awesome. We lost like $6,000.
Oh my God.
Just like that.
Don't
So
talk about that.
good times.
It hurts.
Love that.
But the basic, kind of tenet of this is like, look for themes. Definitely ask for more details if you can, and try and get people back from these reviews. There's definitely things that you can change.
And I would say one other thing about this, like, is respond to your reviews and respond as if you're just reaching other people. If somebody is a lost cause in a review, at least put out a good response so other people reading it know that you care.
Yeah. Well, and at the end of the day, what they say is like, for the one person that leaves you a negative review, there's 9 other people behind them that are thinking the same thing, but that didn't review you. And I think that's like a big thing. So if we got 3 reviews that were specifically talking about our dough, and how many people were behind them thinking the same thing, and if we didn't get those reviews or listen to those reviews, we would just keep doing the same thing and disappointing a bunch of people that walked in the door. I'm thankful for criticism like that, and it's good to use that productively because it helps your business. That's what you want. So we have just a couple helpful tips here.
Take it away, babe.
I'll take it away. So kind of the best thing that we've done with criticism is, instead of taking it as the chef or the server or the manager or as even the business owner, remove those kind of hats from yourself and put on an investor hat and say, I'm going to, or investor glasses, I'm going to look at this criticism through that side of things. Because when you're in the business or operating the business, you take it a lot more emotionally. It's personal. It is an extension of you. Our business is an extension of us. The vibe in the place, the decor, how cool it is, that's an extension of us. So if you're telling me that it isn't cool or you don't like it, there's a little bit of you that goes, oh. Like
especially when you're in the beginning
personal
stages and you're working 80-hour weeks.
Yes.
That's when it's even harder because you're just sleep deprived and out of it.
Yes. But I would say kind of put on the, lens of an investor, and how would an investor kind of react to that, being detached and away from the business. They wouldn't take it personally, you know? So that's kind of a good way to view it. Another thing is, especially when it's very like aggressive criticism or really critical, or it kind of stings, is kind of asking yourself, will I remember this a year from now? And literally 99.999% of the time you won't.
Yeah.
There's nothing that really stings past like a couple days. And so stop, like take a breath, and, again, try and draw out what you can use productively from the criticism, and don't dwell on it. If it's not something you'll remember in a year.
Oh, and this one is one we've had to use all the time.
Yes.
Is give yourself time, a time limit to allow yourself to bitch/vent, 5 or 10 minutes. After that, get to work. And honestly, we are guilty of having to extend that vent time. We've been there.
But then you just end up talking in circles. Like, you keep repeating the same thing different ways.
And also, you're just depleting your own energy on negativity.
Yes.
That sucks.
What's the point? So yeah, seriously, give yourself a time limit. And okay, like sometimes we say it out loud. We are going to give ourselves 10 minutes to talk about this. And after this, we are done. So say everything you want to say. Get it out, because we're not going to keep talking about it. It is a waste of your time and energy to keep talking about it.
Absolutely.
Unless you're then talking about what you're going to do in reaction to that criticism.
So I'd say all these examples here are us being super like positive and like proper in going about it. I don't feel like we touched on anything on where we actually took things as chips and put it towards our energy.
Oh, that's because that's a whole different podcast.
All right, so stay tuned to a later podcast where Brianna's going to make notes for that one.
I've already started making those notes. I've got piles of chips.
That's a multi-part podcast right there.
This is just criticism. This is baby stuff. Like, just criticism. There's a whole nother thing when people are like actually complete assholes to you. That's another podcast.
Yeah.
And how to use that productively is an art. And we will teach you about said art.
We'll get into that sometime. But yeah, thanks for doing another podcast with me, Bri.
Oh my God, thank you.
It's so much fun to hang out with you.
So much fun.
And talk about these things and record them. We also want to say that we will be releasing, if you want to actually like come to one of our things where we actually do real business in real life, we do these menu release parties, and we just released the dates for those, so go to our website and you can go live and buy your own ticket for this. But just know that those tickets go fast. The last few times we've done these, they've sold out within days. So get on that if you want to come out and hang out with us. And also, please help us out. Share this content. If you have somebody who's an entrepreneur in your life, if you found it valuable, and you think they might find it valuable, that'd be awesome. Share it with them. It's good for anybody who's in it, wanting to get into it, or crazy enough to be married to it. So
Excuse me.
That's
Excuse
it.
you, actually, but yes.
So yeah, well, we're wrapping it up though. Have a great day, and thanks for listening to Fire Ready Aim podcast, episode 8.